I think that's what the future of herbs is. I think that's what the future of medicine is. I think, it's like we almost there was a time, a course in time, and we can actually pinpoint it, in my opinion, where medicine was so vast and so encompassing, and it included everything. And then all of a sudden, because of laws and misconceptions and perceptions and racism, if you will, we decided to take a category out of the medicinal pot. A lot of categories, in fact. You can herb, cocaine, whether it's the cocoa plant or cocaine, LSD. There's a number of forms of medicine, if you will, that has not been explored since the 1930s. And it's like it was at that time where we quit using all of the colors that were available to us. We started to we didn't use the greens, we didn't use the whites. And we decide, we can still craft a picture of what it takes to make medicine for mankind, but we didn't include some very fundamental colors, and I feel like now in 2022 we are exploring a little more with these colors, with cannabis and these other medicines, and we're starting to see that, well, wait a second, cannabis does offer a lot of medicinal properties, but if you include that with, say, some healing properties of aloe, and I don't know, maybe a moisturizing or maybe like a topical property of aloe, and you grew that in a plant, well, now you have a super medicine. I'm just going down a trail here. So it's like, maybe there's something to that. Maybe cannabis standalone is a miracle, but once we introduce it with something, we have, this new thing,
that could be the evolution, where it's not necessarily the recreational
and it's not
side.
pharmaceutical. We're growing this in our backyard. Is it still good? Is it bad? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I love to think it like I am.
Well, like, if you think about it, like, again, I always refer back to, it was a fucking great talk. We got to get him on the show. Todd McCormick, shout out to the OG. He discussed how a lot of genetics are so different than what they were once upon a time. They were bred for guerrilla growing. They were bred for short seasons. They were bred for avoiding, getting busted. So think about like a cultivar like GMO. Never have smoked that shit unless we were legally allowed to grow. Who would have a 13-week cultivar that they would grow? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are doing short cycles. Most commercial grows are doing that. And that's how back then, when it's guerrilla grow and cash cropping, same thing. So now as we're advancing, you may find a 15-week or some crazy fucker who gives you these properties that are really psychoactive, and all of a sudden you have a psychedelic effect because that THC is modified in a certain way, and all these different chemical compounds in the cannabinoids can mature more because of that. I mean, it's all hypothetical. It's all bro science, but
what a journey to go.
Yeah, because we don't know. We were given a short end of the stick, because while we did things underground, what was once there was suppressed because of business or because of laws or because of things that were out of our control. So now we're picking up the pieces. People are breeding and figuring out the new properties and herbs and how terpenes affect everything, and how the flavonoids and the entourage effect, and really seeing the advancement in the science of shit that's already there, like shit that's probably been there for 1,000 years. We're just starting to figure out how to use it.
On LSD, man. You know what I mean? Could you imagine just injecting LSD into the weed?
Or getting some psicillocybin properties in terms of, like, because think about in terms of PTSD and things that they use for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
So if you were able to really have that, or to have an edible grown,
and yet mushrooms taste so bad.
Like to have a plant that grows with like an edible THC and CBD, and, like, you know what I'm saying? Hybridizing a cannabis plant with melons.
And getting the best out of it, as I rudely interrupted. It's like, man, mushrooms taste horrible. So could you imagine if you could just smoke it in your weed?
Yeah.
Now, I know you can drink it in your tea, but that's no fun.
No.
Two birds, baby. Two birds, one stone.
This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.